I was saying this on the Patreon, brother fam.
Mhm.
While a lot, and shouts out to all the outlets out there who are educating about the past and the present of Black history and pro wrestling. I love it. I feel like I said it. We get so busy during February, but I think a lot of it, part of it's because shouts out to all the indie promotions that are putting on, black facing, black centric shows during the month of February. But it's like we get into hyperdrive, like, oh, y'all got something going at Ashe, y'all got something on at Fight Club. We trying to interview 80 y'all. We trying to interview. So, if you've been rocking with us on this series of Ashe conversations, I think that's what I'm gonna call it before the show gets here. We appreciate you. We got another one going down right now. And because it is that time, I have to. This is one of my favorite parts of everything that we do. Thank you for the heads up on that, brother fam. Today, we have an extremely special guest who I'm actually glad that we finally were able to make this happen on the pod, because I feel like it was a minute ago when we saw this brother out in the world in New York at the those wrestling girl. He was in the building at the those wrestling girls event. It was a minute ago. What, 3 years ago at this point? 2 3 years ago at this point?
Something like that. That my wildest memory of this gentleman
Mm-hmm.
is from afar. We're leaving for the culture in Dallas, and I believe this gentleman who had just fought one of those goddamn hardcore, death matches. He hops into the Uber, the cab, bandages it up. I'm like, God dang, cuz he was smiling. I said, oh yes,
That's that
shorty
real
crazy,
life. That's
shorty crazy.
the real life of a pro wrestler. You mentioned for the culture. I mean, hey, it's no secret that this is the person that is running that 2 years going, and it's been interesting to see the day that I've been looking at some of the announcements, and it's good to see some of those faces as well as some of those matches that have been booked. And there's one in particular that we have to talk about. Not only was his brother your first Fight Club Chalker City champion, but again, he is the person at the helm of GCW's For the Culture brand. I hear that he's going to be in the building. I saw his list he's got a whole list of upcoming events and stuff that he's got going on. He's gonna be at Ashe, and I think I have a sneaky suspicion about what he might be doing, but it's probably best that we bring this brother to the stage and have him talk about it himself. Brother fam, if you could bring brother Billy Dixon to the stage, please. A round of applause from our in-studio audience. Thank you very much, Billy Dixon. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you. I know you said you were you getting over a cold, so it's been a situation for you, but we appreciate you taking the time. Thank you. How you
Oh, no, no,
doing?
no. Pleasure is all mine. I'm very happy to be with you guys talking about all the cool and exciting things that are happening in the culture regarding pro wrestling between this month and every month thereafter. Yeah, I think you can hear a little bit. I
Oh,
ain't doing the
yeah.
job. I ain't doing the job to the flu. I don't do jobs.
I love
So,
it.
you know, we getting ready to talk our stuff, pop some shit. Let's see what's shaking. But I'm very excited to be here today.
Thank you. Well, like I said, Ashe this Saturday in North Carolina, and before we get to there, I do want to talk. I was watching the live feed Ashe won months ago, and it was dope. Billy Dixon's out there. Darius Lockhart's out there. There's a conversation going on, and because Darius he's getting back in that ring, and he's talking to this man right here, saying, "Hey, when I step back in the ring, I want you to be my opponent." And now there was a whole nother entity, a whole nother situation happening. Now there's a whole other match booked this week, and I want to know from you, how are you feeling about somebody literally stepping over a situation that was set up for you?
Well, I wanna just take a second to thank you. You're the first person to ask me how I feel about the situation.
Oh,
Um, in order for me to answer that, I have to tell a little bit of a story. I got to take you a little bit back. The year is
sure.
2020. It's the summer of 2020. Now, I retired in June of 2022. I was burnt out. I was dealing with a debilitating knee injury and just overall burnout, and feeling like at 26 years old, I hit my ceiling, and I did not take that well. And Darius Lockhart was also in sabbatical. What people do not realize, because some of us do not perform our lives for the internet, is that me and my brother, we spent a lot of time in our sabbatical together, and we talked about the things that we were hurt about that pro wrestling we felt took from us, and the hurdles that we had to overcome, and the doors that were slammed in our faces, or we got to be in the rooms, the hurdles that were coming that are specifically for people like us. And if it wasn't for those conversations that I had with him, I don't think I'd come back to wrestling. I knew of Ashe's existence well before it was a formality. And that's the reason you come back to wrestling. I think both of our legacies are going to be that we were the type of people that as we climbed, we didn't just not look back, but we reached our hands down, and we've done everything within our power to bring as many people up with us. That is what I feel me and Darius Lockhart's legacy will ultimately be. Will we have a ton of glory in our careers? The rest has yet to be written. But I think overall, internally and externally, that is what we will share. And I've known the personal and physical and emotional and spiritual even things he was dealing with. So at no point do we ever say, hey, we'll wrestle each other when we get back. We wrestled each other one time for a local fundraiser for Black mental health in North Carolina many years ago, ran by a female wrestler, Ronnie Nicole, who is an amazing woman who's done amazing things in her career as well. But we didn't get a chance. We've never really gotten to wrestle each other. So I was taken by surprise that he wants me to be his first match back. And I'm known for not the same kind of wrestling he's known for.
Right.
So I was like, the match will happen, the bell will ring, and the first thing I'm going to do is shake your hand and punch you in your face. I mean, that's the type of time I'm on. You know, that's the way I tell you I love you. So I was like, oh, he want to scrap. Let's scrap. So I was so excited. Number one, I'm wrestling one of my best friends in the business. And number two, I'm wrestling Darius Lockhart. Let me be a Mizark for a second. The brother is so talented, so crisp, so clean, so fluid. He has been head to toe with some of the biggest names in the industry. He has been in platforms I feel he should have been. Now, what happened when he got there is what we're still working to correct in this industry. But that brother proved time and time again that he should be amongst the pantheon of athletes in this industry, regardless of any sort of category. So to find that out was exciting. And then immediately, my arch nemesis, the man who has caused me great pain and suffering and injury in my career, to take that away from me because he wanted to run his mouth. And I think the real root of this is jealousy. I think no one's asked me my point of view on their issue, but there's jealousy of Darius Carter to Darius Lockhart. And Darius Carter is very jealous of Billy Dixon. He could never do the things that Darius and I are doing. Number one, he is entirely too selfish. He is entirely too focused on himself. If I were to quote what Darius Carter would say, he would say, I'm not black, I'm OJ. And that's a shoot. That's the kind of brother Darius Carter is. The kind of brother that Billy Dixon and Darius Lockhart are the ones who have sacrificed in order to bring so many up-and-coming young black talent and put them at the forefront and say, look at all of these diamonds in the rough. And there is scientific and economical and financial proof of what we've been able to do, more than just any picture could show. Darius Carter doesn't have the heart, and he doesn't have the humility to move his ego to the side to share a spotlight. So he, realizing that the main attraction for the next Ashe show would not feature him, non-factor, to the side where he belongs, he had to make it about him. And I, as a promoter, know I know a money match when I see it. Me and Darius Lockhart is a money match. I don't have to prove that to anyone. That speaks for itself. But I know that Darius Lockhart probably will really enjoy putting the boots and the fists and putting the paws on Darius Carter. And that's what I, as a wrestling fan, want to see. Now, we'll get back to me and him. That's going to happen. I have full faith in that. But again, I have the humility, and my ego is healthy enough to stand to the side to let my brother's first match back be about him establishing whose yard it is at Ashe. That trumps, at this very moment, a very fun and exciting, friendly competition between two very close friends. That can wait, because you're not going to step into this man's house that he just built and disrespect it. Because the brother tried to do that to me, and I had to teach him a lesson the hard way. So now it's Darius' turn to teach Carter exactly how you run your house. So,
you mentioned bringing the young folks up, right? Or not necessarily just the young folks, but just people that look like you. One of the favorite things of your career so far for me was your reign as the Chocolate City champion, as I got a chance to come down and check out a few matches. What did that reign mean to you? And like, what is are championships still part of what you want in this thing?
Well, I mean, first off, I have to shout out Fight Club Pro for putting me in a position to earn a championship. I think it was important at that time in my career to be seen, not just recognized and given this beautiful championship. I mean, my God, one of the most beautiful championships in all of wrestling. I mean, TKO wishes they had a championship that looked that nice, you know.
Talk about it.
I mean, it didn't have a logo in the middle. It was a champion. It was something you would want to fight for. And I realized that when you're an inaugural champion, you have to set the tone of what this legacy is going to be. Mm-hmm. And then the world shut down, and then it was really time to set the legacy of what it was going to be, and to differentiate between that and Trish Adora being Pan-African World Diaspora Wrestling Champion. So it was putting this championship in completely different scenarios than what that other title had. And it was very cool to defend it on some of the only content that was around during the pandemic. I mean, the majority of my reign was during the height of COVID, which, I mean, it's the cards we're dealt with. And I have beaten a lot of incredible younger talent. I had a great match with Christian Robinson out of Philly, who is like, I don't want to say Black Rob Van Dam because he's so much more than that. But if I had to give him a reference point, it's just carefree, athletic, strike-based talent. I had a tremendous match with O'Shea Edwards where I barely won. I barely beat my enemy, Darius Carter. I was able to take this to several different states. I pulled up on one of my favorite rivals, Hoodfoot, in his own house and beat his ass and held his belt and my belt. It said, my belt's prettier than yours. Do something about it. I was able to really create a legacy of that. I am the hunted, but I am also a hunter, because that belt is about not being afraid of the smoke. And looking at what the current champion Andino is doing, he's carrying that legacy on of, it's not about necessarily the challengers, but I need to be challenged myself. So I all love to Fight Club Pro for that amazing opportunity. It was 826 amazing days being a champion. And it's a very long time to have a championship. And I have nothing but gratitude for that time in my career. I think that I am also currently the current Uncanny Attractions Unchampion out of a promotion in Austin, Texas, that features predominantly LGBTQ talent, and I'm very proud to be their second ever champion. And I defeated the very, very capable and very, very talented Edith Surreal for that. And that legacy with this belt right here is, I am the best wrestler in Texas, and I'm not even from the state. And if anyone has a problem with that, they can show up to Uncanny Attractions and prove me wrong. And I had a great match with our brother Brick Savage, but I still won. And I will continue to win because I am a winner. And I love being a champion. I think that maybe there's some other championships that I believe I deserved a championship shot at that I've never gotten. There were some PWI rankings that had me as a number one contender for certain world titles that I've never gotten a shot at. I, no matter where I go, I know that this year I will win championships, plural. I know that this year I will be dripped in gold, and I'm very excited about adding that level to my legacy. All the creative stuff is cool, but I also am a fighter and a prize fighter at that. I live to be a champion. 826 days proves that. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. You talk. I'm looking at this image and seeing that we're kind of in the middle of a lot of these dates, especially when you're talking about Austin. And I know that you're defending that title at South by Southwest. I mean, that's a pretty damn huge deal. I imagine it's probably going to be a very interesting crowd. I can only imagine what at South by, it's such a mixture of people, and when they hear pro wrestling and they hear LGBT and what the crowd, I'm interested to see what the mix of people is going to be in that crowd at that time for you down there.
Oh, it's March 16th. It's a free show, free admission. So if you're in Austin, Texas for South by Southwest, pull up. You don't have to pay anything. And it's sponsored by my close personal friend, Dwayne Johnson's Tequila Terramana. So not only am I a draw, I make big connections happen. You know what I'm saying? I become the champion. That's a shoot. I become the champion, and we get Terramana as a sponsor. So to anyone who wants to disrespect my gangsta and the fact of why I call myself the business, that right there proves it. I get this. More people are at the shows, and now we have beautiful corporate sponsorships with one of the most powerful men in all of combat sports and entertainment, for that rather. So Allie Katch is one of my very good friends in wrestling. We talk every single day. We share a passion of being Lady Gaga fans and all that cool stuff. But when she pulls up to South by Southwest in her hometown of Austin, Texas, the friendship goes out the window because she's trying to take my money. You do not take my money, and you do not take my power. We can be friends, but don't try to take what does not belong to you. You can have any other belt, but you're not taking this one. And you're not going to prove that you're the best wrestler in Texas, because I am. Because I have this. I mean, look at the little Texas on the belt. That means I'm the best wrestler in Texas. I'm the best wrestler in Texas. I'm not even from. You know how sad it is that they got to import somebody to be the best? Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy?
I love it.
And you got Reality of Wrestling, you got Dustin Rhodes School, you got Hybrid, you got Mission Pro, you got all these Texas promotions, and me, a city slicker, they hate them. I come in and I'm the best. I am better than everyone from Texas. How sad is it for them? But also, what a blessing, because look at all the great business I'm doing, and I've only been champion for like 100 days. Imagine once I cross my own record of 826 days. Imagine what this belt will do, and the sponsorships we'll have. I'll probably be on the next season of Euphoria by then. You know what I'm saying? Look how great I am. Look how great I am.
Black excellence in the flesh.
Right there. Mwah. That's why I'm the business. Look at the things I do. Crazy.
What's it like to be involved in a time where inclusion in pro wrestling is at an all-time high? There are more black people that are doing things and getting opportunities. There are more LGBTQ folks that are getting opportunities that we haven't seen. What's it like, and where do you see things going?
It feels correct. Nobody can talk cash coach shit better than me. I should be on the marquee. It feels correct that I'm one of the best wrestlers in many people's minds. It feels correct that I draw the money I do. It feels correct that people have no choice. So many of my peers do not like me, but they have to respect me, because the name of the game is how much money you can make, and I've made more money than I can count. So it feels correct that I, along with so many others, not just a one-man operation, have been a part of a revolution for inclusion, and now we're seeing dividends. I think it's great that my friend Effie has sold out Big Gay Brunch in Philly. I think that's great. I think it's great that he's one of the top acts in all of independent wrestling. I think that's great. I think it's great that Allie Katch is great. I think it's great that Trisha Dora has proven her worth for the past 5 years really proven herself for the past 5 years. Darius, Lockhart, Ashe, Dark Sheik, Hood Slam, Fight Club Pro Wrestling, Enjoy Wrestling. There's so many viable alternatives that embody where the world is at. You know, if you're tired of seeing the status quo, there are alternatives that say you don't have to look at the same old, same old. So it feels correct to be at the forefront of that. And it feels correct to be someone who gets to, I'll be honest, profit from that, because I've put a lot of work in to making pro wrestling an inclusive space before it was cool and profitable to put a rainbow thing on your promotion, or before it was cool to have more than one black performer on your card. I put a lot of work in to get that. So now I feel like I am beginning to still have to work hard, still have to go to the gym, still have to watch my tape, don't get me wrong, but to reap the benefits of these rewards with the position I find myself in 2024, it feels correct. And I don't want to be humble about that, because that's me cowering for wanting a seat at the table and wanting equity. I don't want equity. I deserve equity. I expect equity, period. So it's great, but it's what it should be. And I won't tolerate less, which is why the moves I've made in my career have really led up to this point. So it's a great time, and so many people are really getting opportunities that they never had. But like I said, the business should have been here when I was in utero, but we're here now.
Right. No, actually, I like you mentioned you mentioned a lot of people who are making moves, and I mean, you know, I know you were talking your shit, and I love when people do that, but I mean, you got to give you your flowers too. You know, I was reading earlier, you've been talking about, you know, it wasn't like For the Culture was some, you know, grandiose thing that was, you know, it literally you got a text like, hey, you want to be, you know, you want to be down and had this thing, and you were like, yeah, and then it became a thing, and now you're, you know, going into, you know, the second year doing this during WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah.
But I want to know from you, what's been the difference between, I mean, because you just announced recently Too Cold is returning, and I love this because it's in Philly. Like the Too Cold matches that I remember most are watching on them old little Philadelphia sports stations, old ECW before TNN and all that stuff. Like him and Sabu, that TV title run is anyway. Did you learn anything? What are the things that you picked up on from last year going into putting together For the Culture for this year?
I mean, so for me personally, I am not somebody who, I don't redact history. You know, we have to state the facts as they were. You know, to be given a baton that I believe, you know, AJ Gray did a great job of curating the event for the first few years, was a challenge in and of itself. I think the first, 3 or 4 events were fire. So to come in and to pick up that baton at that particular time in history was incredibly daunting and incredibly challenging. Sure. And to not have time to prepare for the public response to that was also incredibly challenging. Learning how to do a show of that magnitude, of that specific magnitude. A lot of these shows, these very big shows, have different kinds of magnitude. And I've done this in every interview, and I will continue to say it. No one prepares you for the emotional labor that goes into a show like this, and the emotional gravity for so many of the performers and the fans alike. This means something to a lot of people, and with great power comes tremendous responsibility, my guy. It is not for the faint of heart to take this job on, and learning how to do that has made learning how to handle that and cope with that, and knowing that there's going to be disappointment, and knowing that there's no way to make 100% of people happy 100% of the time. That's one of the biggest things when you run a show that so many people put their heart and their soul into wanting to be on. Once you kind of understand that and you clear that out of the way, then you can focus on making the best show possible. Part of that means I have to not only worry about my own stuff throughout the year, but I got to be a scout. And one of the things that I've had to pay way more attention to my peers, more than I normally have. There's a match featuring a lot of young people who have been grinding. And I mean, I'm not going to reveal that match, I'm waiting for the graphic to be done. But that is me seeing these people who I have seen just go for it. And I wouldn't have noticed that without this opportunity. Understanding how to negotiate for the main company GCW of how to service our community better. I understood the complaints of last year with Wale Mania. I took that into account.
Mm-hmm.
I took that into account. And this year, we're not the same night as Wale Mania.
Yeah.
I've
great.
also made general admission free. I want this to be a packed house. I want our people, if there is any sort of object for you not being there, I am trying to remove as many options as I can. Now, still, there are seats that need to be purchased for and sat in for this to be financially feasible to continue. But, my interest is you really have to be for the culture in every single part of your thinking. So last year was me just saying, let me put this out and let me just do a case study. I'm going to do the best card I can in my head. I'm not going to have a lot of input. I'm going to just do my version, what I think, if I close my eyes, will be the best card. And I thought I did a decent job. Some things worked. Some things could have been improved upon. I definitely think that this year is going to be so much more about just letting people cook in a way that is it would be way more intentional on the people in the matches and how they relate to one another, and the styles clashing in a way that I think will pay off in bigger dividends than I did last year. I've learned a lot from last year's show, and I've learned a lot that styles do make fights, and really showing that we are so not a monolith, and that we have so many textures and flavors and how we approach this media and this art form. And I'm really excited to see how people respond to this year's card. There are some hallmarks that I think I like to continue every year, but there's some real heavy hitters on the show, and there's some real hungry people who have been really working hard that I think are going to blow people away. And legends, of course, like Two Court Scorpio. I mean, we're in Philly. It's a no-brainer,
Gotta have him. You gotta have him. I imagine that means he had a kick-ass time last year.
Yeah. I mean, him and Brian Keefe tore it up. I mean, it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I injured myself in my match with Willie Mack, and I was sitting with like a bag of ice over my foot on the chair, looking at the monitor, being a fan. I couldn't even register my own pain. Now, luckily, we're in California, so there were things that could help me. But but it's 420 somewhere, you know what I'm saying?
Somewhere,
but like,
anywhere, yeah.
But I'm watching this match and I'm just like completely, like, nothing matters.
Right.
Like, I'm watching Two Court Scorpio do his thing with this brother who's so cold, with this great presentation that Brian Keith has. I'm so happy for all of his success, and I'm so happy that he got to do a bucket list item before he gets to do so many more incredible bucket list items in Ring of Honor and in AEW. No one deserves it more than Brian freaking Keith, man. But it was really cool to sit there and to watch them cook. Just watch them do their thing, and it'd be exactly the way it needed to be. It was a real pleasure, and I'm really happy to have him back.
Indeed.
So not to get too inside baseball, but when you're putting these cards together, what goes into it? Match order. What are the big challenges of just putting a card together that you feel represents what it is that you want to show and showcase?
There's a lot of challenges with this show. I think this show is probably the hardest show to book all year. Because people are coming from different shows. It's WrestleMania week. There's 1,000 shows happening. So the card is subject to change. I mean, we saw it last year. Some folks were not able to make it. Some folks were signing contracts and did not tell me that they signed contracts. And some people had opportunities that they couldn't say no to. I mean, things happen, like it's independent wrestling. So the biggest thing is, and Wally Mania was around the same time, so I'm lacing my boots going, man, motherfucker, I'm trying to go fifth. Now I got to go third because, people being like, I'm in traffic. It was just so lit. I don't want to hear that shit. But like, it is what it is.
To their credit, it was live at that
It-
moment.
Well, I've never been, and I'm very excited to go for the first time this year.
Facts.
Because every year there's been a scheduling conflict for me.
Right,
But
right.
there's all these elements going on, and you wanna make sure that number one for me is if we have legends, if we have people that have paved the way, that they get preferential treatment for whatever it is that they like. Where do you want to go, sir? You tell me. I accommodate for you. You know, all of that and also trying to make sure that the match is flowing in a way that it's a roller coaster ride for the fans. And making sure that people have enough time to really get themselves together. I mean, it is a big challenge. One of the benefits of running a show at a later time is that the number of shows that are running with proximity are less. So you have a small built-in advantage of making sure people are available to be there. And the main show is just I want everyone that I book to walk away feeling that they've advanced than before they came into the building. So no matter who wins, who loses, this, that, or third, how much time you have, I would love for everyone to feel like they have advanced their career as a part of being on For the Culture. Some people it may be in a big way, and some people it might just be inching a little bit closer to that big, big break. WrestleMania is not where you have your big break. WrestleMania week is for celebrating, like Effie said, maybe not so tactfully, but WrestleMania week is about the finale of a year's work of build and culmination and hard work. And I want to celebrate everyone that's on this show because I've peeped that they've worked hard all year.
Facts. Now,
I keep telling folks, WrestleMania weekend is Thanksgiving for wrestling. That year, don't try to make that tofu turkey that you seen on the internet. You play the goddamn hits WrestleMania weekend. I'm sorry, I step off my soapbox.
Nah, play the hits, indeed. You were talking. There's a lot going on, and the one thing that we haven't talked about, we talked about a couple things related to this, but For the Culture, your situation with Mr. Carter. I saw that this was booked, and you mentioned getting injured in your match with Willie Mack, but you also talk about your. Is disdain a good word for Mr. Darius Carter?
I fucking hate him.
Hey, he said it. I didn't. I want to know what type of fight do you want to let Mr. Carter know what type of fight he's in for? I can only with somebody who did that.
He's my biggest fan. I know.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Listen. In another universe, me and Darius Carter would have the opportunity to get to know each other and realize that more than likely we probably agree on more things in wrestling than disagree. But he just, my entire career, people have not understood Billy Dixon. They don't get it. I'm not for you to fucking get. It's about me and the crowd and the connection. And that's all I care about. I've never cared about being perceived as a 5-star wrestler because 5-star wrestlers don't make as much money as superstars. And that's shoot. I don't care about that. I care about if the people who paid their hard-earned money to come see me think I'm great. I don't care about tradition. I don't care about that. I care about making wrestling more inclusive, making wrestling cooler, making wrestling anything. Wrestling can be anything. It doesn't have to be what we've seen for the last 100 years. And Darius Carter is such a brown-nosing, totalitarian, just rigid individual who doesn't have the temperament to deal with something slightly different. If you look at the course of his career, the amount of people who did cool, edgy, cutting edge things that he's taken umbrage with and tried to make beef with, I don't have enough time this evening to get into with you. I'm just the first one to pop back, and I'm not going to take the beating. Listen, he's beat my ass a lot of times. He almost gave me a concussion a couple times, kicked me right in my face. Thank God I got all of my teeth. But the one thing he has yet to do is really keep me down. He's never really kept me down. He may have won his little battles, but he's never been able to say he won a war. Because if he won a war, we would not be having this podcast, and I'd be doing accounting or something. But I'm back, and I'm here, and For the Culture is a culmination of me dealing with an irritant, the herpes of my lifetime. He is human herpes. I'm finally getting eradicate a venereal disease of a man in front of everyone in Philadelphia Friday night. I've been dealing with this individual for 4.5 years. I'm not tired. I'm tired. And I'm getting rid of it. I'm getting rid of it. He is an it to me. He is no longer a human being that I could see some semblance of a connection with about a shared interest of professional wrestling. He's disrespected my friends. He's disrespected my family. He has called me by my government name time and time again. He has made reference. He has made listen. His name is Darius, and my name to the public is Billy. Now, if he wants to call me by my government name, he's going to get a government-sized ass whooping. He's not going to be in the ring with Billy Dixon. He might be in the ring with the IRS because I'm going to take him for every dollar he's got, and it ain't a lot. Because if you want to count who's made more money in this business, he would be very, 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 very embarrassed at the difference between the two of us. See, it's not I who is punching up. He is punching up to me because for all of his gifts, and there are many, very talented individual, incredible technique, incredible execution, incredible commitment to the craft, he's not higher than me. I don't care what PWI says. All my love and respect to Righteous Reg. I don't care what he says. When it comes to who really matters, who's really making a difference, who's a mover and who's a shaker, he's on his knees compared to me. So for the culture, on his knees, I'm going to make him my bitch as the world is watching. And I put an end to this feud, this beef, this rivalry. I no longer care. I am done. I have let him for 2 years say that he ended my career, when if you really think about it, he had to use Faye Jackson, my wrestling mother, as a cudgel for me to say I quit in an I quit match, because every time he put wood instruments in my mouth, beat me with the crutch, broke my knee, more broken than it already was. I never said the 2 words, but when he put somebody I cared about in danger, that's when I had to make a judgment call and quit the match, because her health at that point was more paramount than mine. So the man is going around like he's done something. And I have been humble because I'll take my L. The record books will show that it's a loss. But in reality, it just proved to the world that he's a chicken shit. He's not a man. He ain't real. He's walking around living a lie. And that pompous lie he had to live and say to Darius Lockhart at Ashe, and Darius Lockhart will take care of him this weekend. No doubt about it. But April 5th at For the Culture, I am not finishing some story. This is not about a belt. Belts don't define legacies. Beating someone's ass for the world to watch and settling a score, and where I'm from, getting your lick back is going to cement my legacy. Because a lot of people like to play with my name, but when the bell rings, it's go time. I end him for the world to watch and For the Culture.
God damn, I was not ready, but I respect every. Hey, I'm so glad that we figured out. I'm so glad that this is on a Friday. There's nothing because BRP. I need.
Yeah,
need to be.
Black
you might need a cigarette after this one.
You know what I mean? Well, I'm gonna just drink during. So you know what I mean. That'll get me good.
Straight shots every minute or so. Speaking of Philly and outside of beating people ass, you got a whole T-shirt out. This is the I saw the people. Reception is good on this. This is a Miley Cyrus situation, huh?
Yeah, I hung out with a friend, Mary Jane, and I was like, I need to, figure out what I'm going to do for merchandise, and I wanted to do something quite unhinged. And that is where that idea came from. I'm letting Freedom ring
I love
in
it.
Philadelphia.
It's smart.
Hey, will your friend Mary Jane be in Philly?
Huh?
Is your friend Mary Jane? She gonna hang out in Philly? She gonna be around there?
I got a lot of friends named Mary Jane, but you can meet some of them in Philly.
Fair enough. All right. Yeah, it could be a good time. All right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I plan on having an amazing time.
I saw you mentioned Enjoy Odyssey earlier, and I saw this match here Brother Fam just spoke with O'Shea the other day, and that's to talk about somebody this weekend, especially. And I see a Mr. Grimm over there. What's this? How you going? Oh my gosh, the situation.
I am the smallest man in this match because I'm trying to slim down and be a heavyweight, not a super heavyweight. But this is big meaty men slapping meat.
TME.
We are going to test the limits of the ring and how much it can withstand. There's a lot of very large men in this match.
You breaking that ring?
And yeah, I hope they have good insurance on the building as well because we might break the foundation. But we all have our entry points that we have for this match. As far as it comes to Enjoy, I think Mr. Grimm is a very talented young man. Mm-hmm. I think he has a lot of potential. I think he's really good, but I don't think he's that bright. I don't think you can be that powerful and be that bright. I think God has a way of, humbling us all. He had a bounty challenge. He put a bounty out for himself, and I am very smart, and I beat him for the bounty without breaking a sweat. So I know he's coming for me. I know he's not happy with my actions and me beating him in the back of the head with a chain, but things happen. So I know that's gonna be my number one op on that side. TME, they're great guys, very talented, incredible connection with the crowd. Envy Young is a very close friend of mine and occasional tag partner. Also, we beat each other up, and he gave me this little one right here when I fought him when he was Enjoy Wrestling champion. There's a little bit of receipts, CVS sized receipts that will be a part of this match. So it'll be a fun time in Pittsburgh, March 9th.
I love it. Were there, out of all this, were there any other date? Are there any dates on this in particular that you were particularly excited for?
I'm excited for the amount of money I'm making on all of them.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I've debuted at a couple places. Mm-hmm. Wrestlers Lab was a cool situation in Ridgefield Park. Mm-hmm. I'm excited to have fun. There are some personal matters that need to be handled, but I am very excited to have fun and to connect with people in every market possible and to do some really cool and exciting things. This current run is really about as much work that I put in. I am having the time of my life, and for the first time in a very, very, very long time, enjoying wrestling and being a professional wrestler. So I want to keep that going because it's been a hell of a ride so far, and it's all the road to Philadelphia. No one is going to have a better showing in Philadelphia WrestleMania week than me. It is about me. I am primed to have the craziest matches and the most memorable matches. I don't care if my match happens at 2:00 in the morning. People will be talking about Billy Dixon versus Darius Carter For the Culture for some time to come. And the other matches that I am involved in, I just got confirmation on my participation at Effie's Big Gay Brunch, and that will be crazy.
Hell yeah.
Just crazy. I'm going to leave it at that. Everything I do at that show is crazy. But yeah, every single year at the Collective, I've made a memory. I've been one of the standout performers of the Collective. I take great pride in that because there's a lot of competition to really make a moment. And every single year, this is my fifth one, I can't keep track. And I have consistently delivered what needs to be delivered. And Philadelphia is no different. So I'm very excited about all of these shows leading into the biggest week of my career. Absolutely.
So we've discussed a lot of I ain't gonna say hard hitting journalistic, you know what I'm saying, but you've had some bars to drop today. I have a question for you that's not quite as hard hitting. Is there a significance to the jumpers? Like I've seen you know what I mean? I've seen different flavored jumpers. I've seen the jean jumpers, the checkerboard jumpers. It's been a bit of your signature in the ring. A great deal of it. A couple of matches I've seen you without them, but is there any sort of significance to the different jumpers?
I'm from New York, so I'm from the Bronx. I'm from the heart of hip hop, the birthplace. I've grown up and seen, b-boys do their thing, and originally they were spray painted and had graffiti on them, and they've taken different shapes. But on a real note, the overalls, jumpers, so many words. People say different things when it comes to the signifier for them is that anyone of any size and any gender and any whatever can wear them. And it is the one piece of clothing that is not tied to a specific kind of person. And that is my way of letting people know that you could be in this position. You can follow your dream and you can make some things happen. So, I'm not about being ripped, like Dusty Rose says, my hiney might be a little bit too big and my belly might be a little bit too big, but this outfit, this getup, this is what every man can wear. Mm-hmm. And I think it's impressive to see someone my size in there, in these, doing the things I can do and defying the expectation of what a high-level professional wrestler, high-level entertainer in the ring looks like. It is also, as a child, that's all I wanted to wear. So it's kind of like subconscious that I've tried to go away from them and they just pull me back. I've tried to go away and it's just something about them, that it's my Foley flannel. It's my dusty polka dots. It's a lot of people wear overalls, but a lot of people are not the guy that people talk about wearing the overalls. So with that being said, it's just the thing that has defined me as physically, and they've taken a lot of different incarnations, some very insane, right, and some very, very simple and laid back. It really depends on the vibe of the fight, for sure.
Damn. Well, Brother Fam, did you have any other?
Hey man, hey listen, that was my question right there. I needed to know.
I feel like that's probably a great place to put a button on this. I do feel like the way your 2024 is already scheduled, Billy. The second half of the year, I'm interested to see where you're going to be at that point, leading into next year. So we're going to have to pick up a conversation in the
absolutely
near future. But can you let the people know before we get out of here, where can they find you on the social medias?
Oh, absolutely. You can find me on every single social media at the Billy Dixon, TheBillyDixon. You can find me on all platforms. I post a lot, and you can see me in your city or on streaming apps like Fight, IWTV, Title Match Wrestling Network. And most importantly, you can see me and so many other incredibly talented Black professional wrestlers at Ashe Wrestling on February 24th this weekend, curated by Darius Lockhart, featuring Ron Simmons, Teddy Long, performance by Cianica, featuring Sunny Kiss as well. This weekend, it'll be streaming live. And also, the world will be watching the culture on one of our biggest nights, April 5th, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Friday night at 11:59 p.m., the 5th annual GCW Collective for the Culture, featuring Billy Dixon versus Darius Carter, settling the score, one of the Culture's few rivalries that has spanned as long as it has. Also featuring Sunny Kiss versus Man Like Darius from the UK, and also featuring in the city that put him on the map, Two Court Scorpio, the OG of all OGs, will return to For the Culture. You can buy that on Fight TV or get your tickets at ftcphilly.eventbrite.com. General admission is for free. Once the allotted amount is accounted for, we will need you to purchase a ticket for entry. We want to sell this out. It is Operation Sell Out For the Culture, and we've made it easier than ever. So there's no excuse for y'all to show up and watch online. We're giving you everything we got. So thank you so much for the platform, my brothers. Keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate your contribution to the culture. It is of importance, similar to those of us in the ring, to push ourselves forward and put ourselves on the map. And Thank you for what you do. Sincerely, I appreciate it. And thank you for the platform.
Thank you, Billy. Appreciate it. For Brother Fam, Mimi, Mav, shouts to y'all. It's Cal, BRP. We're out. Ashe this Saturday. Peace.